King Charles versus King Felipe, the hidden rivalry that Europe's royals don't want you to know. Welcome to B News. What if I told you that two of Europe's most respected monarchs, King Charles III of the United Kingdom and King Felipe VI of Spain, are quietly locked in a rivalry that could reshape the very future of monarchy across the continent? At a time when public trust in royal families is already crumbling, whispers of competition, jealousy, and hidden maneuvering between these two kings raise one urgent question: is Europe's royal order on the brink of collapse? Before we dive into this shocking story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to B News, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our in-depth reports on the stories others won't tell you. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments, because this is a debate that will divide opinions worldwide. On this day, August 19, 2025, Europe finds itself in the middle of unprecedented social and political shifts. Wars of influence, economic turbulence, and a new digital revolution have left citizens questioning old institutions. And at the very center of this turbulence lies the monarchy, an institution many see as outdated, yet still clinging to power, prestige, and billions in wealth. While Britain and Spain appear united on the surface, beneath that royal glamour lies a story of power plays, cultural pride, and a subtle but dangerous rivalry. Since his accession in September 2022, King Charles has fought an uphill battle. Taking over from the legendary Queen Elizabeth II, Charles inherited not only a crown but also a world of doubt. Could he live up to his mother's towering legacy? Could he modernize the monarchy while holding on to its traditions? Many critics argue that Charles has failed to capture the hearts of his people. Polls show support for the British monarchy dropping, especially among younger generations. In this climate of fragility, any challenge to his symbolic authority becomes magnified. By contrast, King Felipe VI of Spain, though facing his own crises, has managed to rebuild trust in the Spanish monarchy after years of scandal under his father, Juan Carlos I. Felipe has styled himself as a modern reformer, stripping down the monarchy's excesses, presenting himself as a man of integrity, and quietly working to strengthen Spain's diplomatic standing. Unlike Charles, Felipe projects an image of renewal rather than decay, making him a natural point of comparison and competition. While no monarch openly admits to rivalry, insiders in both palaces have whispered for years about subtle competition. From their public appearances at international summits to their handling of domestic crises, each king seems acutely aware of the other. Spanish media, for example, have praised Felipe for outshining Charles in speeches on democracy and climate action, while British outlets have defensively painted Charles as the more experienced statesman. These battles aren't fought with armies but with images, words, and influence. And in today's media-driven world, that is a war just as potent. Britain and Spain have centuries of royal tradition behind them, but their histories are filled with rivalry. From the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 to colonial competition in the Americas, these nations have often found themselves as both allies and adversaries. Though modern monarchs hold less political power, history still lingers in the public imagination. Many in Spain see Felipe as the symbolic successor of a European tradition rooted in unity, while Charles is portrayed as defending a fading empire desperately holding on to its relevance after Brexit. The British royal family's scandals, from Prince Andrew's controversies to ongoing rifts with Prince Harry and Meghan, have damaged Charles's credibility. Every negative headline chips away at the monarchy's authority. King Charles has tried to pivot toward climate advocacy and interfaith dialogue, but critics dismiss his efforts as too little, too late. Meanwhile, Felipe's comparatively scandal-free reign shines a spotlight on Charles's vulnerabilities, amplifying the rivalry. In Spain, Felipe has strategically positioned himself as Europe's model monarch. His decision to cut his own salary, enforce transparency laws on royal finances, and publicly condemn corruption gave him credibility not only at home but across Europe. Young Spaniards who once dismissed the crown now see him as a necessary stabilizer in a politically divided country. For Europe's monarchies, Felipe's example offers a roadmap of survival, something Charles has not successfully articulated. The rivalry is not just about the kings themselves, it's also about the media narrative. British tabloids, notorious for their ruthless coverage, have pushed Charles as a dignified figure battling adversity. Spanish outlets, on the other hand, highlight Felipe's strength, contrasting it against Britain's royal dysfunction. The more these narratives spread, the more the rivalry takes on a life of its own, one fueled by public perception as much as by palace politics. Behind closed doors, diplomats admit that these rivalries occasionally bleed into state affairs. During Brexit negotiations, Spain maneuvered carefully around Gibraltar, one of the thorniest issues between London and Madrid. Insiders suggest Felipe's firm stance contrasted sharply with Charles's calls for cooperation, subtly painting the British monarch as weak. Even ceremonial meetings between the two families reportedly carry an undercurrent of competition: who commands the room, who earns louder applause, who shakes more hands. Why does this rivalry matter? After all, monarchs today are mostly ceremonial. Yet in the battle for hearts and minds, symbolism is everything. In nations where republican movements are growing louder, the survival of monarchy depends on public image. If Felipe is seen as the future, Charles risks being seen as the future, Charles risks being seen as the past. That perception alone could shape whether younger generations demand abolition or cling to tradition. At the core of monarchy debates lies the issue of money. The British monarchy costs taxpayers nearly £100 million annually, sparking increasing criticism. Spain's monarchy, by contrast, operates on a budget a fraction of that size. Felipe has leaned into this comparison, emphasizing austerity and responsibility. Charles, weighed down by centuries of inherited estates and castles, struggles to project the same frugality. Financial optics only intensify the rivalry. Recent surveys reveal a startling contrast. In Britain, support for the monarchy has dropped below 55% among citizens under 30. In Spain, while Republican movements remain vocal, Felipe's approval rating stands strong at 65%, bolstered by his reforms. The numbers tell a simple story: Felipe is winning the perception battle, while Charles fights to stay afloat. The rivalry extends beyond Europe. In Latin America, Spain's former colonies continue to view Felipe as a symbolic figure with historical resonance. Charles, by contrast, struggles in the Commonwealth, where nations from Barbados to Jamaica are moving toward republicanism. As former colonies cut ties, Britain's global royal influence fades, while Spain quietly preserves symbolic connections across continents. Culture plays its part. Spain celebrates its monarch as a unifying figure in times of political fragmentation, particularly against Catalan separatist pressures. Britain, however, often frames its monarchy as entertainment: televised weddings, scandals, and Netflix dramas. This cultural distinction reinforces Felipe's gravitas and Charles's celebrity-like vulnerability. For young Europeans, monarchy represents the old guard. Yet Felipe's reformist image resonates with millennials and Gen Z, who value transparency and accountability. Charles, though passionate about environmentalism, is often seen as out of touch with digital age activism. This generational gap further cements the perception of Felipe as the monarch of the future. Behind the curtains, both monarchs engage in quiet diplomacy. Felipe seeks stronger ties with the European Union and Latin America, while Charles positions himself as a global climate advocate. Their overlapping roles spark subtle competition: whose speech makes headlines at the United Nations? Who garners praise at global summits? In the theater of diplomacy, prestige matters, and both kings know it. This rivalry ultimately reveals something bigger: the fragility of monarchy itself. Once untouchable, these institutions now survive only by maintaining relevance. If Charles appears weak while Felipe thrives, it could accelerate calls for republicanism in Britain, while bolstering Spain's monarchy for another generation. But if Felipe stumbles, the monarchy dominoes across Europe could begin to fall. As of August 2025, the outcome of this royal rivalry remains uncertain. Charles continues to push his climate agenda, while Felipe deepens his image as a man of the people. But history has shown that monarchy can unravel in a moment, through scandal, protest, or even simple irrelevance. What is certain, however, is that this hidden rivalry between two kings symbolizes the crossroads Europe's monarchies face today. The question we must ask is not simply who is winning between Charles and Felipe, but rather whether monarchy itself can survive the 21st century. If Charles loses credibility while Felipe thrives, does that mean Britain will lead the way into republicanism while Spain preserves tradition? Or is this rivalry just the beginning of monarchy's slow decline across Europe? So, what do you think? Will King Charles overcome his challenges and secure the monarchy's future, or will King Felipe quietly emerge as the model monarch of Europe? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, we want to hear your perspective. And remember, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to keep these crucial stories alive. Because the truth is, the future of monarchy may not be decided in palaces, but in the conversations we're having right now.